RuneScape, a game that no matter how much it changes, it fundamentally stays the same. This has been the case for 20 years, but one man is going to change all of that. Gather around, friends. Hear the story of Elmer Graves. What's that? You don't know who Elmer Graves is? I thought not. It's not a story that JMods would tell you. You see, long ago, I made a plugin that turns RuneScape into a survival game, adding tons of things like a day-night cycle, a hunger system, status effects like feeling cold or warm or when you're carrying too much, all of which affect your life points, and if those hit 0, you die. In-game. That should be made clear. And this plugin was broken up into 5 ages, where in each, you'd be restricted in what items you could use. For example, in the first age, you could only use weapons up to steel, and you wouldn't even unlock prayer or magic until the 3rd age. This plugin was intended to give all the fun of not playing RuneScape while playing RuneScape. But you see, Elmer Graves, the person we're here to talk about, he took this all a step further. Elmer decided to play this without trading with any NPCs. That means no buying from general stores. And Elmer even played this game mode as a hardcore UIM, which means 3 things. 1, no banking. 2, no dying. And 3, no showering. Elmer was a brave man, a brave old man. He's very old, but he's one we could all strive to be more like. So please, sit back, relax, and let me tell you the Elmer Graves story, the 5 ages, parentheses, no dying, no banking, close parentheses, brackets. Oh, sorry, we'll get back to the video in a second. I'm just playing Hero Wars. Hero Wars literally has everything you could ever want. It's got cyborgs, it's got aliens, it's got vampires, even furries will find something they like. Did you say furries? Get out of here! You've got Chaba, who's a real tank, and Celeste, who can switch between DPS and healing. And the best part is that from February 13th, you can gather soul stones and skin coins for 3 amazing heroes with new skins that also boost their stats. You can power up your team with Amira, Jordan, and my favorite, Kira. It's really easy to start playing Hero Wars, but assembling the perfect team is an art in and of itself. For example, Mojo the Shaman can't heal Darkstar the Elf as efficiently as Martha can, while the Slow Cleaver makes a great pair with the Swift Isaac. Hero Wars has more than 100 million players, and it's great to play both on your own and with your friends. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. Here's a question for you. Where can you get 30,000 coins, 600 emeralds, and 5 awesome heroes to start dominating in Hero Wars right away? The answer is in the link in the description down below. So go down to the description, click the link, and play Hero Wars now. Our story begins in Lumbridge, where Elmer Graves, a beautiful, muscular old man, has just been born, ready to embark on his journey through the ages. Elmer's brittle old bones can hardly carry everything he got from Tutorial Island, so he immediately drops everything. It doesn't take long for Elmer to start feeling a little bit hungry, so he runs off to go get some food. A task that, sadly, was easier said than done. God damn it. As if by divine intervention, Elmer had been reborn, and he vowed to not waste this life. His first priority was to get a tinderbox from the only tinderbox spawn he could think of. Wait, he didn't get food? Why didn't he get food first? Armed with his new tinderbox, Elmer died immediately. The good news is Elmer is 1/3 cat. Meow. The bad news? This is his last life. Having starved to death in his last 2 lives, he finally decides to prioritize getting food. Look at all this raw chicken. Elmer's finally learning how to survive. Should probably cook that chicken, Elmer. You're getting kind of hungry, man. Oh, thank God he's finally cooking the chicken. After quickly doing Cook's Assistant at midnight, I guess, Elmer turned to his true passion. Crime. You see, Elmer had a plan. He needed the money to pay for the boat to get to Artie. In Artie, he'd be able to fulfill both his passions at once, crime and cake. After arriving at Artie in the dead of night, he immediately starts stealing cakes from the bakery stall. Look at this balanced diet, cakes and cabbages. What else could a man need? And chicken, I guess. 15 thieving, which means Elmer can now enact his master plan of stealing from ham members. But why, Elmer? Why steal from ham members? Well, you see, in his past life, Elmer was a lawyer, so he knows all about loopholes, and ham members have quite the loophole. Elmer's not allowed to use shops, but maybe he's allowed to make an exchange. Ham members give a lot, including a rusty sword. And if you take that rusty sword to the Tyndall merchant in Port Khazard, you'll get a random sword from it, including a chance at a steel sword, which would be Elmer's best weapon. Now all Elmer had to do is get some sleep, and he'd be ready to steal from the racists. Just kidding, Elmer doesn't sleep, he kills people who sleep. While you were sleeping, he was gaming. He'll never stop grinding. Sorry. Surprisingly, the racists were not thrilled about Elmer stealing from them, calling him such names as doing. But no matter how many times the ham members kicked him out to the cold or threw him in jail, Elmer was undeterred. Maybe you could say he has no ability to read a rune, but I say he's dedicated. People from his generation didn't know how to take no for an answer, and he wasn't about to start now. Eventually, he was able to get 3 rusty swords, but his brittle old bones could hardly carry them. After shedding some weight and almost dying for the 3rd time, Elmer made it to the Tyndall merchant. But this guy drove a hard bargain, and despite all the crime, Elmer was low on cash. The only sword he could afford right now was an iron sword, which was pretty good, but he needed steel. But how could Elmer make the money to exchange the rusty swords? Who are you? What do you want? I'm your worst fucking nightmare. Honey, do something. Oh man. With his new cash, Elmer went back to the Tyndall merchant and exchanged both of the remaining rusty swords for a bronze sword and an iron longsword. Elmer was disappointed and he knew he'd have to pivot, but first he wanted to address a weakness. You see, the higher Elmer's agility level is, the more he can carry at one time. And with 10 agility, he could carry 15 kilograms at once. This means a whole new world of possibilities was open to Elmer. He could do anything. Oh my god, he's pickpocketing. Elmer, stop that! With the capital secure to leave Ardoin, Elmer lays out his new master plan. He knows he has to defeat Count Draenor to move on to the Mithril Age. Most people would just use magic and prayer to defeat the Count, but poor Elmer hadn't learned those skills yet. Not wanting to return to the Rusty Sword Casino, he decides he'll make his own steel weapon to defeat the vampire. He decides to learn the ways of mining from Doric, the dwarf north of Falador. But Doric needs minerals first, so Elmer sets off to train his mining. His first order of business was to get a steel pickaxe. Did I say steel? I meant iron. He needed 15 mining to bring the iron ore to Doric, so that meant an all-nighter of mining. Oh, neat, a beginner clue. A quick sidetrack to go and do that and receive... What is that? Before getting back to mining, it was time to really get the steel pickaxe. But in the process, Elmer also gets an easy clue. Never one to stray away from a challenge, he completes the easy clue in only 2 steps, and the reward is nothing short of... decent? Elmer reaches 15 mining, but he knows Doric will want all the minerals at once, and he's just not strong enough to do that. But luckily with old age comes wisdom, and he knows of the secret pair of boots that will reduce his weight by 4.5 kilograms. With his newfound light-footedness, Elmer hands in all the minerals at once, and Doric is beside himself. Elmer reaches 18 mining? Wait, isn't he gonna need like 30 though? What? Okay, new plan. Fuck making a steel weapon. That was a bad plan and I blame Elmer's dementia for coming up with it. Elmer's new plan was far better. He knew that with a ranged weapon, he could safe spot Count Draenor, making the fight almost a guaranteed win. The only problem was he had no ranged weapons. Or ranged ability. Luckily, he knew exactly how to fix both those problems. By helping the people of Mistalin, he could learn enough about crafting to reach 8 crafting, only 2 levels away from spinning his own bowstrings. Ammunition for the fight was easy. His old racist friends had steel arrows to spare. They also had a chance of getting easy clues, which could give him an oak shortbow, the best bow for the Steel Age.
So that was a fucking lie.
Unfortunately for Elmer, someone replaced the treasure with trash. But even with an oak shortbow, Elmer knew he'd have to master a ranged weapon before heading into the fight, and he couldn't waste his steel arrows on training. But with a few fletching and smithing levels, Elmer could fashion his own iron arrows, the perfect ammunition to train with, and a decent fallback option if he runs out of arrows during the Count Draenor fight. But as Elmer was enacting this fantastic plan, reality struck. His stomach started to rumble. Worse yet, the sun was setting. In the blink of an eye, Elmer was cold and hungry, his life points draining at the speed of something that's pretty fast, but not like crazy fast. In a split-second decision, he races to the Varrock sewers, chopping a tree on his way. Looks like rat meat is on the menu tonight. Death's grip grows tighter as his hunger continues to consume him. He manages to defeat the rat, but time is running out. Elmer picks up the rat's meat, and he burns it. But he cooks the next one and he's fine. Kind of. To get the smithing level to make iron arrow tips, he decides to do the knight's sword. He braves the wilderness, hardcore UIM by the way, to get the iron bars he'll need to complete the quest. On the way back, he gets a little sleepy and spends the rest of the night with some barbarians. The next morning, he finishes the knight's sword and fletches the day away, eventually learning how to make iron arrows. Oh, this is all going really well. I feel like something should go wrong. Oh, sorry, I forgot he's a UIM. Everything's always going wrong. I don't care if it's not in the script, it's true. While finishing his journey to 20 fletching, the game blesses Elmer with a beginner clue, and it brings him back to an old friend. This beginner clue could not be better timed for poor Elmer, because it can not only give him an oak shortbow, but also leather chaps, and his legs are getting a little cold. Well, I'm getting a little hot, if you know what I mean, though. God. Sorry about that. Anyway, the beginner clue gives him... After firing some bowls, you're fired. Elmer reaches 10 crafting, which means he can make his own bowstrings. And with 20 fletching shortly after, he fashioned himself both a shortbow and an oak shortbow. All that was left now was the iron arrows, and luckily, his old friend Doric would be helping with this. I knew you weren't an idiot for doing this quest, Elmer. Elmer would start the mine west of Falador, magically turn 6 iron ore into 2 iron bars at the Falador furnace, run up to Doric's house, turn those into iron arrowheads, and repeat. Was it fun? No, but how many times did he almost die? Just once, actually. Elmer was now ready to train his ranged, and to comfortably kill Count Draenor, he estimated he needed about 25 range levels. So I think it's time for a training montage. What am I doing? Anyway, Elmer got 27 range and even got a beginner clue on the way, which is the last chance for him to get leather chaps before the big fight. But it looks like fate had other things in mind, giving him a steel battle axe, which to be honest, if he got like 10 hours ago, he'd probably be pretty happy, but now it's just kind of in this setting. But now the time had come. The sun was rising. On what could be Elmer's final day, he would either advance to the Mithril Age or fall victim to Count Draenor. He enabled an alcoholic to learn how to weaken the vampire. This was a necessary step, although probably can't be great for Dr. Harlow. But the time had come. All preparations were made. All he had to do was fight. What the fuck? Was that it? Is that the big fight? What the hell, guys? Well, I guess Elmer was a little over-prepared for the fight. I guess he a little overestimated it. I'm sorry about that. We'll plan better next time. Thanks for watching. Get someone else to narrate this next time. That was awful. Making these videos would not be possible without the support of my patrons. You can see their names right over here. They're all wonderful human beings, I assume. Maybe some of them are criminals. If you want to join the Patreon, thank you so much. There's a link in the description, and we're running a promotion right now where if you join in the month of February, you'll get a handwritten note and a sticker from me. That's kind of crazy. Special shout out to my milk producers. I have to read your names off a list now because there's so many of you. I'm talking about Pants, Christian, Kai, Farrell, AJ Carr, Claro, Liz, Britt, Hazmat, Baston, Lemon, Punningham, Snoopy, Jake, Nanaroo, Blessed, Infernal, Blemma, Carly, Leah, Womanity. Thank you guys so much. An extra big shout out to my executive milk producers. Mia IRL, Jepperite, K Forest Silver, Omega Onion, Josh, Evan. Oh, my phone. Jamie, Light. And finally, shout out to the members of my tier, the people who are so insane with their support that I don't even know how to put it into words. Suede Oxford, Joshy. I will make a Snail Man video next. Josh Elliott. It's become a thing where people will change their name, so I have to read them out loud in the video, so I'm really sorry about this one. Head Cheese from Charlie the Tramp's Pike. I'm so sorry. Thank you for watching.